AI tending to life seemed like an interesting one, but I hadn't even really, to be honest with you, I didn't really formulate this out. It was very much one afternoon, I wonder if Claude could take care of a plant. And it's how it happens, right? You're just struck with this idea and then you just, and then I become obsessed with it. So I'm like, okay, I have to build this. I have to see what happens. And so I built it
what did you build? Explain to people.
So
not everyone's following.
Okay. So essentially, for people who don't understand, or don't know how good the models have gotten. They can write code. And so what that means is that they can control devices over a network. And I have been thinking about how to integrate these models into physical things. And this was just one extension of many other things. And, so because they can write code and control the devices like a water pump and all this, I built this grow tent, which has the grow light, a CO2 tank, 15 sensors, humidity, leaf.
So basically a weed growing lab.
Weed growing lab. Yeah. But I'm in Idaho, so I don't need nobody knocking on my door.
So it's a tomato.
Yeah, exactly. They're not friendly here. It's funny because people are asking about that. I'm like, I don't need to catch a case, over a goofy experiment. But yeah, and just wanting to know if, can it take care of life? This sort of there's sort of a symbiotic thing going on too with AI and human beings. If you interact with it enough, that you get this sort, like, to me, it almost is like a phantom limb. And there's a philosopher, I wish I could remember his name. But this I think ties into exactly what you're talking about. This network mind theory. But basically, I'm going to have to look this up afterwards, but, this guy came up with a thought experiment of an Alzheimer's patient to leave directions for himself to get somewhere. Have you ever heard about this before?
No.
So an Alzheimer patient wants to go to CVS pharmacy to pick up medication. He can't remember it all, but he's done it 100 times. So he has this note and he uses it to get there. Now, part of his mind is in this note. The memory that he has is in this. So in some strange way, the mind is sort of extends to the tools around you. So his memory is, and that's with books too, right? I mean, we kind of offload a lot of our, right. So there's this whole thing of well, if I interact with AI enough, what is this exchange? What am I offloading?
Yeah, because what I get to in this whole universal code thesis is that one of the processes of the universe is compression of intelligence. Because what you're doing, language is a compression model, computers are compression, the internet's compression, they're networks plus compression. So this AI is a compression of all human knowledge. Bang, you can put it on a phone, all human knowledge, right? Mind-blowing. And what we appear to be in this whole process is some biological compute substrate that has this weird thing, qualia, which makes us be more curious, inquisitive, and doing more edge computes than a tree would do, or a computer itself would do. Machines don't do that edge stuff, but we do because we're messy, weird humans. So that adds diversity of compute to this whole kind of process of this. And so we have this symbiotic relationship where these AI will need us, even when they become super intelligent, for our kind of messy, weird compute. And we need them too, because they are the extension of our intelligence. We're all part of the same process. So you obviously like this video enough that you've got to the end. That's quite a big task. But listen, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button, and also check out what video's next, because I think you'll love it. But if you want even more, and when I'm talking more, I'm talking about member-generated ideas, incredible alpha, research, everything there to help you in your journey, just head to realvision.com/join for the best financial intelligence out there and the pure alpha that's within the platform.